everyone, we are back to this lovely little mouse and house page. This is from Rita Berman's book, and I have done a video for this bit, so if you haven't caught that video and you want to, it'll be hopefully linked to in the description, but if not, you should be able to find it on my YouTube channel in the recent uploads or in the Rita Berman playlist. And we're going to concentrate a little bit on the house today. I'm not sure how much we'll get done. I may have to nip off and do a job and come back, but that's not going to affect the video. But we're going to, I'm going to start with the wood. We've got the front door, we've got a little shutter, and we've got the ladder. I'm going to zoom in a little. Let's go in a little. Let's move in here. Unfortunately, it's only really the central area that stays in brilliant focus, but I think it will be better to do all of these at once. So I'm going to start with my lightest brown that I'm going to use on the doors and bits and bobs. I'm going to make them all the same, just because then we get some sort of consistency across the page. So I'm going to use my Foxy Brown. I'm still using the Black Widows. That's what I started with. And I'm just going to put a layer on the door to start with. Yeah, I chose my Black Widows because I wanted something that I could sharpen to a nice fine point for our mouse, but they are a nice pencil, and I'm sure they'll work well. I have got the Spider set and the Cobra set, as I explained in the video yesterday, and I find there's an adequate mix of colours in that. I realised that I wouldn't advise buying the Cobra set without any others, because there's very few blues in it, and but combined with the Spider set has got 3 blues, and the Cobra set has got a bluey green. So they work quite nicely together. They've both got quite a few greens, which is always useful, I find. And most of the books that I colour in have lots of leaves. So you need green leaves. I couldn't think of the word. So we're going to do this little window shutter as well. It's a blind, isn't it? And actually it's probably on the inside, not the outside, so it probably isn't really wooden. But it's done now. And we have the ladder as well. I think it's a ladder. What do you think? Do you think it's a ladder? I think so. And it's nice to be doing a little bit of Rita Berman. I do colour a fair bit of Rita Berman actually at the weekends when I'm not recording. It's nice to be recording some for you. Her drawings I think are really cute. And she is working on a new book, so I gather from her Instagram feed, which is rather exciting. So I shall be looking out for that one. I'm just checking for any other bits that might be wood. I'm looking at these bits in the window, but I think I'll leave those. Yeah. Now we're still with our Spider set at the moment, which is called Black Widow. So all the Spider sets have got Black Widow in their BW numbers. This is Tarantula, so this is a darker brown. And what I'm going to do with this brown is I'm going to do some shading. So I'm going to put in some shadows on the wood. I'm just going to give it a sharpen and show you where I think it would be have shadows. And then with our very dark brown, we're going to look into this wood grain and do some work with that. So I'm thinking it'll be shaded at the top where this door frame is. The door, I feel, from the way Rita's drawn this black, is set in from the door frame. So we need to put a bit of shadow there just to emphasise that. We can do that all the way around the door. Like that. And then underneath the hinges, there's no handle on this door. Maybe a mouse doesn't need a door handle. Don't know, he'll snuffle his way. Goodness, sorry, my phone ringing. A friend with a mini crisis, which I think we sorted out. And I had to rush down and put some food on, so I'm out of breath, but I'm gonna colour the shading shadows at the bottom of the ladder. Whew. And at the side here. You can see Rita has actually drawn some in for us to make it a little bit easier. But I'm putting some here. Okay. Yes, it was a sort of help, something's happened, what do you think? And I was like, well, get a bit more information, check if it was this or this before you go worrying. So, okay, I will. Oh dear. It's it can be tricky at times. We go off onto a bit of a panic. Right, I'm not happy with this shade of brown. I think it looks a little bit orangey, my liking, and I'm going to grab my stink bug, which we actually used down here, and I'm going to colour it all over in that to make it a bit more yellow. I just think it'll look better. I know I said we were going to go on and do some details, but I was looking at this when I was on the phone thinking, nah, I'm not happy with it. So I'm going to make it look a bit more warm. It might not look so real, like realistic would, but you know, it's not a realistic picture. It's just a bit of fun. So there we go. I like that better. If you don't like that better, you can leave it how it was. It's completely up to you. And you might be using different pencils with different shades of brown anyway. Now don't press too hard when you're doing this. I'm worried that I am, because we've still got to do some details with a different colour. Gosh, I'm talking fast, I'm sorry. I'm running upstairs, running around, and I haven't got a lot of time now. But what I'm going to do is I've got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to do what I can in the time and then just come to an end, and we'll just make another video. It was always going to be a series of different videos anyway. It might just come to a more of an abrupt end than I was planning, but that's okay, isn't it? Okay, I am happy with that, but I am going to go back in with my Tarantula and redo those darker areas again, just because I think now we've put that other layer on, they're not really showing up quite so well. So if you prefer this darker brown, you could go over your whole door and with it, but I quite like the lighter colour, and I think it ties in with our corn or wheat or whatever this is as well. But it's up to you. You are the owner of your picture. Don't have to do it my way. Just trying to fade that in a little bit. I don't want it to look too harsh. And then doing the underside of here. I actually need to apologise to my poor friend. As soon as I picked up the phone, she was very apologetic, and I think I was a little bit abrupt because it was the third time today I've been disturbed in a video by a phone call. Oh, not again! But I knew she wouldn't ring me unless it was important, so I thought I'd get it. Anyway, I shall send her a little apology. I'm going to meet up soon, I think, which will be nice. We don't get to meet up that often because we're both working a lot. And although she all seems to be more hectic than I do. This is Huntsman. She has 2 children like I do. I'm thinking I'm just going to start with this bit of wood grain, and I'm thinking maybe it'd be a little bit darker in this centre bit. Like that, and then sort of go around, just following that pattern a little bit with some stripy bits. I'm not doing anything too exciting. And what you can do is you can go quite dark and make it look like there are dents and things in the door. I think I'm just gonna emphasize the lines a little bit and leave it at that. It looks quite fun. Now with this shutter we don't have the grain, But I think we can just use this black to emphasize the difference between each of the little slats. And here we have got a few lines and bits which we can just go over. I'm thinking just emphasizing the lines and the very bottom of each bit, and also there'll be some shadow under here we can just sort of pop in like that. Now I did need to say that this afternoon at 3 o'clock there will be a premiere of the next video in the Ivy and the Inky Butterfly series, to remind you of that if you're following those or if you're interested. I try to be at the premiere in the live chat. The video, the colouring isn't live because, well, my phone would ring, wouldn't it? It would just be a disaster. But the chat is, and I'm try and be there and chat and say hello. It's really nice to see people. See people? No, can't see you. To chat with you, so that's really fun. So I will be there. I am going to do the hinges. What I think I'm going to do to start with is grab my black. This is the Black Widow, which is the blackest of the blacks, and do the circular bits first here, and just in a black. Okay. Just keep it simple. They're quite small. Trying to do any sort of shading with that would be very difficult. And I'm also thinking under here, do you see? And under here, I'm not pressing quite as hard. I don't want it to be really dark black. These might look like they're set in if they're a bit darker, which is nice. And now I want to do a little silvery look. Just trying to decide which of my greys to use. I'm going to use the Cobra grey. We haven't actually used any of the Cobra set yet. This is called charcoal actually, and because some of the greys are a little bit brown, like the ones we used for the mouse. So this one I think is quite black, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to start darker, lighter, dark. This one's quite brown, light. I'm like dark. Oops. Lighter. See, we've got a little bit here and it looks hopefully a little bit shiny, and we can do the same here. So more layers here and then less, more here and less. This is a slightly different shape. It's got a bigger point, and there we go. Now we don't have anything like that on the others, but I am thinking this door frame is in fact no, I think what we'll do with this door frame is we'll do it the colour of the wall, and we've got this bit to do and think about as well. I will, getting up to the windows, do the windows with this though. These, not the whole of the window, but this bit. I'm trying to make it lighter and darker a little bit, so it looks like it's a little bit of metal. I'm thinking, is that a just a metal divider sort of thing, like that? And I'm going to do the light coming from the windows now as well. We've got the 3 windows. I'm just checking, make sure I'm right. Yes, and I'm thinking if you do a little bit, you can see here we've got some shading on the windows as if they're darker on that. So what I'm going to do is find a darker colour. We have got this lovely colour called Nugget, which is a sort of orangey yellow. So I'm going to start with that on these darker areas, like that, and then fade it a little bit. And here, I'm just going to use Rita's dots as guidance, or else it might look a little strange. Rita knows what she's doing. Like that. And this one I think I'm just going to go around the edge in that colour. And if you use this sort of yellows and oranges, it just looks really friendly, like there's a nice friendly light. Oops. And the next colour I am going to use is this one. Yes, the Lemonade from the Black Widow set. So this is a nice yellowy, really bright yellow, and I'm just going to finish it with this. And hopefully it will look like there's 2 colours. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm going to fade it a bit towards that end, and hopefully you can see a little bit of difference in the light from one side to the other. So I'm putting a lot of layers down here and then less here. Like that. Yeah, I think that's fine. I have noticed though that where's the pencil? I want this one. That under here that we've got a line and a line like we had under here. So I'm going to use the black. This is my Black Widow to fill that in so it looks a bit like it's in shadow. We don't have that on this one. Okay. Now I'm looking at this little string holding up our ladder, and I'm thinking I might go for sort of an earthy tone. Maybe the stink bug might work well. I'm just trying to find it. Stink bug. See, these pencils aren't dipped at the end, so you have to look at the name to find out what they are. Black Widows have just brought out, I'm not sure if it's in the UK yet, I will look and I will put info in the description for you. They've just brought out sets of these with dipped ends. So they've dipped in the colour what corresponds to what colour they are. So it's much easier to identify which pencil is which. They still have the black barrel and the black paint, but the end is dipped, and they look like the new set, the Dragon set, have that. I think the Monarch set did as well, and maybe even the skin tone sets, I'm not sure. But now they all match, which is quite fun. Now, I coloured that, leaving a few gaps here and there, and I'm going to use the Lemonade, whoops, which doesn't want to stay still. There he is, the Lemonade, to just fill in those areas. Like this. There we go. Okay, I've got 5 minutes, so I might leave it there, because I think otherwise I'm going to start something and get into a rush, and that isn't going to be very good, is it? So although I promised you a house, we've only done a few bits. If this is really short, I could just, no, I think I'll leave it short today, and then that'll give you a chance to catch up if you haven't started yet. And I will come back tomorrow and do the building and get on with that. So I think it'll be better for me not to rush, because you don't want me rushing. It won't be so relaxing, and it won't be so much fun for me either. So I shall leave you here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day. I'm just putting that in shot for a photo, ready for the thumbnail. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and happy colouring.